Hey, how's it going? My name is Tim Warner and I'm the host of the Inform IT Certification Reference Guide. Thanks for joining me on this on-certification screencast. This one is called Introducing the Safari ITIL Library. In this screencast, I'm going to spend a moment describing the purpose and function of Safari Books Online, otherwise known as SBO. Then we'll describe very briefly ITIL version 3. I know that's a complete mystery to many IT professionals. Then I'm going to present a new service that we have going on at Safari called the ITIL Library. And we'll even log into it and I'll show you what it looks like from the inside. And finally, I'll give you my contact information so you can send me any questions you have in particular. Let's get started. First of all, for those who don't know, Safari Books Online, which can be found at safaribooksonline.com, is an online library, really. It's a subscription-based service that represents a partnership between the company for whom I work, Pearson Education, and another really big superstar in computer publishing, O'Reilly Media. And what this subscription allows you to do as an IT pro, as a lover of good computer books, is read and perform searches across huge volumes of excellent computer books. Look at some of these imprints: Cisco Press, O'Reilly, Peach Pit, Q, Sam's. I mean, these are all the books that you spend time reading when you go into Borders, for instance, and get lost in their IT section. Not only do we have books, but there's also videos. For you programmers and your application developers, your web developers, you can look up code snippets and download that code and adapt the code for your production environments. Of late, we've even mobile-enabled portions of SBO via an iPhone application we have called Safari Book Bag. It's a great service. Now then, let's contrast that with something that seems to have no link with Safari Books Online. What is the ITIL Infrastructure Library? First, let me say that I've recorded an on-certification screencast covering the basics of ITIL. So make sure that you look up that video just to educate yourself, because I'm just giving you a single bullet point that encapsulates a huge program. The IT Infrastructure Library, as it's known, is defined as a set of best practices and procedures for managing IT operations and providing best-in-class IT services. Very hot technology in 2009, and it's a lucrative certification to have. As I say down here, you can see both the on-certification screencast channel for a video I've done on this, as well as my online home, the Inform IT Certification Reference Guide. I've published a series of useful blog posts that detail how one would go about earning the ITIL v3 certification. All right, let's get to the meat and taters of what this screencast is all about. What I'm so excited about sharing with you is that Safari Books Online recently worked out a deal with the ITIL folks to present the ITIL core titles. Turns out there's 13 titles in the ITIL core library, and is making those titles available in SBO. Isn't that awesome? I've grabbed this, what you're seeing, as a screen capture from safaribooksonline.com that shows you the 13 titles specifically. If any of you have been to ITIL training, you're very familiar with these book titles. Here's the deal. These books are all well into the 3 digits a piece. They're extremely expensive. So to be able to get access to these ITIL titles as part of your Safari Books Online subscription is just a no-brainer. Now, there's that old saying that I grew up with, and you probably have been too, and that is, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. And this may be a deal breaker for you. Look at my little asterisk down here, or asterisk, I should say. This ITIL library, at least as of today, I don't know if this is going to change in the future or not, but it's available only to corporate customers. So you're going to have a Safari Books Online account through your company. It's not just available to, Joe Citizen or Jane Citizen, unfortunately. I know that's a deal breaker, and I'm sorry if you're in that class. All right, well, let's, without further ado, pop open a web browser and we'll get logged in and I'll show you what this looks like in living color. So here we are at the Safari ITIL Library homepage. The URL is itil.safaribooksonline.com. Now know right off the bat that if you have a Safari Books Online subscription, it's no good here. Safari maintains a completely separate web application or a website for its ITIL library. The permissions and the permission structure is completely different between traditional SBO and the ITIL library. So I'll click Subscriber Login to get logged in, and notice that it says ITIL email address instead of the email address that you would normally use for your ordinary Safari Books Online subscription. I'll provide my password. Because I'm on my home computer, I will set a cookie to remember the password. We have our Safari End User License Agreement, or EULA, that I'll want to read carefully, and then we'll continue to log in. Now, the initial interface looks quite a bit different. It's a lot cleaner than the traditional Safari Books Online interface does. Well, by virtue of the fact there's less content. If you've used traditional Safari Books Online, you know that there's just so much there. Your dashboard page, I'm not going to say it looks cluttered, it's nicely organized, it's just there's a lot more there. I like how simple the interface is here. Shows you the core books, the core 5, and then it shows you the balance of your 13 books down below. Why don't we run a query? Let's say we're studying our ITIL and getting ready for our foundation exam, and we want to learn more about the service desk. So we can just type that in and click Search, and then the interface opens up to look a little bit more traditional to what you're used to seeing in Safari Books Online proper. We see our search results show up. We can sort them by relevancy, insert date, or pub date. We can change the number of results we see per page. We can, if they don't all show up on a single page, we can go to the next page. You've got the idea of setting favorites if a book shows up in more than one result and you just want to always have it be there. You can choose to see the table of contents. You'll notice conspicuously absent are the little PDF icons. I've recorded another screencast on the On Certification channel that shows you how to use Safari Books Online and shows you how to print chapters using the little PDF download tokens. Please check that out at your convenience. Let me step back. And then to drill into one of the sections, just click the appropriate link, and as you see, you've got your print fidelity view. The page looks just as good as it does in the actual printed book. However, if you're on a low bandwidth connection, you can always flip on over to HTML view and have kind of a less pretty view, but one that's going to render a lot faster. Okay? And then we see our search on the left looks a little bit more traditional again, like I said, to standard Safari Books Online. So there you have it, the Safari ITIL library. What an excellent value, wouldn't you agree? Let's wrap up this screencast by providing you with contact information. Again, my name is Tim Warner, and what I tell people upon initially meeting them is that you'll probably never forget my name if you think of Time Warner. And believe me, I've heard that more times in my life than I can count. I'm inured to it. At any rate, my email address is timothy.warner@pearson.com, and I'm not going to read all these URLs. I'll just keep this slide up here for a moment and tell you to check me out at the On Certification Screencast channel. I'm a regular Twitterer, so be sure if you use Twitter, feel free to start following me and I'll follow you there. And finally, the Certification Reference Guide is an excellent web portal where you can follow my blog posts and articles and related media. Thanks very much for taking the time to watch this screencast. If you have any ideas or suggestions for additional ones, please send them my way. I will consider them, I'll write you back and thank you, and I'll record the dadgum things. Thanks again. Take good care.